Most people wake up every day reacting. The alarm rings, emails start piling up, messages demand our attention, and before we know it, we're already behind. But what if I told you that the first hours of your day hold the power to transform everything that comes after? It's not about waking up early just for the sake of it. It's about what you do with those sacred hours before the world starts asking for pieces of you. See, discipline, clarity, and growth are not accidents. They are the results of intentional actions, small decisions that compound into big outcomes. If we want better days, we need better mornings. And the truth is, success doesn't start at 9 a.m. It starts long before. Today, I want to share with you 5 simple but powerful things that, if done before 6 a.m., will not just change your morning, they will change the trajectory of your entire day. When the world is asleep and the noise of life hasn't yet taken over, there exists a rare and powerful window of opportunity. A time when silence isn't just the absence of sound, but the presence of clarity. Most people underestimate the value of stillness. They rush into their day, starting with chaos, immediately consumed by emails, notifications, and responsibilities. But here's the truth: the tone of your entire day is set by how you spend your first hour. And if that hour is filled with silence, reflection, and intention, you are essentially programming your mind for control instead of reaction. The morning isn't just a time of day, it is the foundation upon which the rest of your day is built. The greatest performers in every field, athletes, leaders, artists, understand that their results are a reflection of their mindset. And mindset is cultivated, not stumbled upon. When you embrace stillness before 6 a.m., you give yourself permission to pause. That pause is not laziness. It's the most productive thing you can do. It's the moment when you check in with yourself before the world checks in with you. Think about it. When was the last time you woke up and gave yourself space to breathe, to simply sit in quiet, without grabbing your phone, without being pulled into the urgency of others? That discipline of stillness rewires your brain. It sharpens your ability to focus. It allows gratitude to surface naturally, because in silence you notice what you often overlook in noise. And gratitude, when practiced first thing in the morning, transforms not only how you see your day, but how you interact with the people around you. Science supports this truth. Early morning silence reduces cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and creates a physiological state of calm. Your nervous system resets. Your body feels lighter. Your thoughts slow down enough for you to actually choose them rather than being dragged by them. Imagine beginning your day not in panic, but in peace. That state doesn't just stay in the morning. It echoes into every meeting, every decision, every conversation you have throughout the day. A calm beginning creates a calm leader. A calm leader creates better outcomes. But beyond the science, there's a deeper layer. Stillness reconnects you to yourself. It is in these quiet hours that ideas surface, visions become clearer, and decisions feel less forced. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history have come not during activity, but during reflection. The brain, when unburdened by constant stimulation, does its best creative work. So while others are drowning in distraction, you're cultivating clarity. That clarity is your advantage. Stillness is also an act of resistance in a world that glorifies business. When you choose stillness, you're saying, I am not defined by the noise. I am defined by the intention I bring. It's a declaration that your life will not be ruled by reaction. And that kind of choice doesn't just change mornings. It changes who you become. Because who you are at 6 a.m., when no one is watching, is who you truly are. The beauty of mastering stillness is that it doesn't require hours. Even 10 minutes of intentional quiet, of breathing deeply, journaling, or simply sitting in reflection, can anchor you for the day ahead. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. It's about carving out sacred space for yourself before giving yourself to the world. And the compounding effect of this practice is extraordinary. Over days, weeks, months, it builds resilience. It builds focus. It builds a version of you that responds instead of reacts, that leads instead of follows, that lives with clarity instead of chaos. Would you like me to expand Hiku's keynote to us the same way, around 600 words, same tone? Energy is not something you stumble into, it's something you create. And one of the most powerful ways to create it is by moving your body before the day begins. For many people, the morning feels heavy, sluggish, almost like a fight just to get out of bed. But that heaviness isn't just physical, it's mental. The body and mind are connected, and the way you treat one directly impacts the performance of the other. That's why movement before 6 a.m. is not just about fitness, it's about priming your energy, unlocking focus, and building discipline that carries through the entire day. When you start your morning with movement, whether it's stretching, yoga, a quick run, or even just bodyweight exercises, you signal to your body that you are ready. You flip a switch that turns fatigue into vitality. The blood starts flowing, oxygen reaches the brain, and suddenly the fog of sleep begins to lift. You feel sharper, more awake, more capable. And this is not just a feeling, it's a physiological truth. Exercise releases endorphins, the body's natural mood enhancers. It reduces cortisol, which lowers stress and increases dopamine and serotonin, the chemicals tied to motivation and happiness. In other words, moving your body before 6 a.m. doesn't just wake you up. It programs your brain for positivity, resilience, and drive. But there's something even more powerful at play here, the mental discipline of choosing movement over comfort. At 5 a.m. or 5:30, your bed feels warm and inviting. The temptation to stay under the covers is strong. Yet, when you override that comfort and move your body anyway, you're training your mind in the art of discipline. You're proving to yourself that you can do hard things even when you don't feel like it. That decision, though small, ripples into every other choice you make that day. If you can conquer your body first thing in the morning, you can conquer challenges at work, in relationships, and in your personal goals. Movement before 6 a.m. is a rehearsal for resilience. There's also the gift of momentum. Think about how often people say, "I'll work out later," only to find that the day's demands swallow their time and energy. Later rarely comes. But when you do it first thing in the morning, it's already done. You've already won. And that win isn't just about fitness, it's about identity. You start the day already succeeding, already moving forward, already proving to yourself that you are someone who takes action. That momentum makes it harder to slip into laziness or procrastination later on. You're not starting from zero, you're starting from victory. For those who think they don't have time, the truth is you don't need an hour. Even 10 or 15 minutes of intentional movement can shift your state dramatically. It's less about duration and more about consistency. The goal is not perfection, it's momentum. Over time, these short bursts compound. They build strength, stamina, and confidence. They teach your body that mornings are for progress, not excuses. And perhaps the most overlooked benefit of moving your body before 6 a.m. is that it changes the way you carry yourself. Physically, you stand taller, breathe deeper, and feel more alive. Mentally, you're sharper, more alert, and less prone to stress. Emotionally, you feel more grounded, less reactive, more capable of handling whatever the day throws at you. It's a shift that others notice too. People sense your energy, your presence, your confidence, and that opens doors that discipline alone could never open. Movement in the early morning is not about chasing perfection. It's about creating energy, building momentum, and reminding yourself that discipline is a muscle, one that grows stronger each time you use it. It's about starting your day not with hesitation, but with action. And once you've moved your body, everything else feels lighter, easier, more achievable. Because when you take control of your energy before the sun rises, you take control of your entire day. Do you want me to continue with Keynote 3S in the same expanded 600-word style? Most people wake up and immediately step into a world that demands their attention. Notifications, emails, and the endless noise of responsibility start shaping their schedule before they have even taken a breath for themselves. The problem with this is simple. When you allow the day to control you, you end up spending your time reacting instead of leading. But when you take the first hours before 6 a.m. to plan your day intentionally, everything shifts. Suddenly, you are not drifting. You are directing. You're not running from one fire to the next. You're calmly executing the things that matter most. The day stops being chaos and starts becoming a series of purposeful actions. Planning is not about creating a rigid script for the next 16 hours. Life is unpredictable and flexibility is necessary. Instead, planning is about anchoring yourself to priorities. It's about identifying the few things that, if accomplished, will move your life forward. Without that clarity, it's easy to get lost in distractions that feel urgent but add little value. The morning is the best time to design your day because your mind is fresh, your environment is quiet, and you're not yet pulled into the swirl of demands. In those early hours, you have the space to think clearly and choose intentionally rather than allowing others to decide for you. There's power in putting pen to paper before the world wakes up. Writing down your top 3 priorities is like drawing a map. You now know where you're going. When challenges appear, and they always do, that map reminds you of what matters. It becomes your compass. Without it, you're wandering, easily distracted, easily derailed. With it, you're grounded, more focused, less reactive. The difference between those who achieve consistently and those who feel constantly overwhelmed is often as simple as planning. But planning isn't just about tasks. It's about energy. Ask yourself, where will I be at my best today? What moments require my full presence? When you plan with energy in mind, you're not just organizing your time, you're protecting your capacity. That might mean scheduling important conversations during your peak hours or blocking time for deep work when your focus is strongest. Doing this before 6 a.m. ensures that you start your day with intention instead of guesswork. There's also a psychological shift that comes from planning early. You step into the day already prepared, already in control. That confidence creates momentum. Instead of feeling like you're playing catch up, you're moving with purpose. And that sense of direction influences how you show up. People notice the difference between someone rushing through their day and someone moving with clarity. One looks stressed, scattered, overwhelmed. The other looks calm, grounded, intentional. Planning is what creates that contrast. For many, the excuse is, I don't have time to plan. But the reality is you don't have time not to. Spending just 10 minutes in the morning to clarify your direction can save you hours of wasted energy and distraction later. It prevents you from falling into the trap of business without progress. Planning is leverage. Those few minutes compound into productivity, peace of mind, and ultimately, better results. The act of planning before 6 a.m. also reinforces a deeper identity. You become someone who leads their life instead of being led by it. It is a statement of ownership. You are no longer at the mercy of external forces because you've already decided what matters. That decision strengthens your sense of control, and that sense of control reduces stress and builds confidence. Over time, it transforms not just your mornings, but your entire approach to life. Planning your day before it controls you is not about perfection. It's about clarity, alignment, and direction. It's the discipline of telling your time where to go instead of wondering where it went. And when practiced consistently, this one habit becomes a quiet superpower. The ability to move through each day with purpose rather than chaos, with calm rather than stress, with vision rather than confusion. Do you want me to go ahead and expand Keynote 5 into the same 600-word Simon Sinek style? What you put into your body first thing in the morning is more than just fuel. It is a signal to your mind and body about how the rest of the day will unfold. Most people wake up and immediately reach for convenience. Coffee loaded with sugar, processed snacks, or nothing at all until they are starving later in the morning. But when you start your day with intention, when you choose fuel that nourishes rather than depletes, you set yourself up to think clearer, act stronger, and sustain energy rather than constantly crash and recover. The choices you make before 6 a.m. ripple throughout your day, shaping not just your physical state, but your mental and emotional state too. Think of your body like a high-performance machine. You wouldn't put low-grade fuel into a sports car and expect it to run at its best. The same applies to you. The first things you consume either sharpen your edge or dull it. For instance, hydration is one of the most overlooked but powerful tools you have. After hours of sleep, your body is dehydrated, and simply drinking water first thing revitalizes your cells, boosts metabolism, and clears your head. It's a simple act, yet it transforms how alert and awake you feel. Pairing hydration with the right nutrients, whole foods, proteins, healthy fats, gives your brain the stable energy it needs to focus, rather than the roller coaster ride that sugar and processed carbs provide. But this is about more than nutrition. It's about intention. Choosing to fuel your body well before 6 a.m. is an act of self-respect. It's saying, I value myself enough to give my body what it deserves. And that mindset carries forward. When you make one disciplined choice, it becomes easier to make the next one. Start with nourishing fuel, and suddenly you're more likely to make productive decisions. Approach challenges with patience, and sustain your energy rather than burn out halfway through the day. It's not just about what you eat, it's about the identity you're reinforcing with every bite or sip. The truth is, many people underestimate how much their morning fuel impacts their emotions. Spikes in blood sugar lead to irritability, foggy thinking, and mood swings. Stable intentional fuel, on the other hand, creates balance. It allows you to show up calmer, more focused, and more grounded in every interaction. Imagine walking into your workplace already sharp, already steady, already present, not struggling to catch up because your energy is unstable. That stability becomes your advantage, separating you from those who live on caffeine highs and sugar crashes. And there's also a deeper layer. When you fuel with intention, you begin to shift your relationship with food from one of impulse to one of purpose. Food is not just about pleasure or habit. It becomes a tool for performance, for clarity, for consistency. That shift changes the way you think about yourself. You stop being someone who reacts to cravings and start becoming someone who acts with purpose. That kind of control in the morning builds confidence for the rest of the day. This doesn't mean you need to follow a perfect plan or obsess over every calorie. What matters is awareness. It's about asking yourself, will this fuel me or drain me? And choosing the option that aligns with the person you want to be. Small changes, like replacing processed food with something whole or drinking water before reaching for coffee, compound into massive results over time. The consistency of those intentional choices rewires not just your health, but your habits. Fueling with intention before 6 a.m. is not just about food, it's about setting the tone for discipline, focus, and resilience. It's about choosing stability over chaos, clarity over fog, strength over weakness. And when you make those choices consistently, you don't just have better mornings. You have better days, better weeks, and ultimately, a better life. Do you want me to move forward and expand? Keynote forwards are the same 600-word style. What you feed your mind in the earliest hours of the day has the power to shape the lens through which you see everything else. Too often, mornings are filled with noise, scrolling through social media, glancing at headlines designed to spark fear, or consuming random content that has little to no impact on your growth. This noise doesn't just take your attention, it sets the emotional tone for your day. And once that tone is set, it is incredibly hard to change. If the first thing you take in is negativity, comparison, or distraction, you are unconsciously programming your brain to keep searching for the same throughout the day. But when you make a different choice, When you feed your mind with growth, wisdom, and reflection before 6 a.m., you create an entirely different trajectory. Early mornings are sacred because your mind is fresh, unburdened by the weight of the day. The thoughts you entertain during this time sink deeper. This is why intentional input matters so much. Reading a book, listening to a podcast, journaling your thoughts, or reviewing your goals are not just activities. They are investments. They are seeds planted in fertile soil, and as the day unfolds, those seeds grow into clarity, resilience, and confidence. Imagine starting your morning not with the noise of the world, but with the words of great thinkers, leaders, or writers who remind you of what is possible. That perspective doesn't just inform your day, it inspires it. Feeding your mind with growth is also about direction. Every piece of information you consume is a building block shaping your worldview. If you're not deliberate about what goes in, you leave it up to chance. And chance often delivers distraction. Choosing purposeful growth content before 6 a.m. is like setting the compass north before the journey begins. It aligns you with your values, your goals, and your higher vision. That alignment acts like a filter, making it easier to dismiss distractions and focus on what truly matters. There's also something powerful about journaling in the early hours. Writing down your thoughts is not just an act of expression, it is a tool for clarity. It allows you to capture ideas before they fade, to process emotions before they spill into your interactions, and to design intentions before the day dictates them. Journaling is feeding your mind with your own wisdom, reminding yourself that you already hold many of the answers you seek. In the silence of the morning, your mind speaks more clearly, and journaling gives it a place to be heard. What makes this practice transformative is consistency. One book, one podcast, one journaling session won't change your life, but the compounding effect of months of purposeful input is extraordinary. Over time, your vocabulary changes, your perspective widens, your resilience strengthens. You begin to notice connections and opportunities you would have missed before. You start to approach problems not with frustration, but with curiosity. That growth mindset becomes your default operating system, and it all begins with what you choose to feed your mind in the early hours. The beauty of this practice is that it's entirely within your control. You may not control the chaos that comes later in the day, the unexpected calls, the deadlines, the challenges, but you do control how you begin. Feeding your mind with growth before 6 a.m. is a declaration that you are not just surviving the day, you are designing it. You are choosing to lead with wisdom rather than reaction, with curiosity rather than complacency, with strength rather than fear. And that choice, made consistently, changes not only the way your day unfolds, but the person you are becoming. Would you like me to now expand keynote success in the same detailed 600-word Simon Sinek tone? The way you spend your first hours has an impact far beyond what most people realize. Those early moments before the rest of the world wakes up are not just about getting ahead on tasks or squeezing in extra productivity. They are about shaping the identity you carry with you for the next 16 hours. Winning the first hours of the morning doesn't just give you a head start, it transforms the way you move through your entire day. It is a powerful reminder that momentum is created, not found, and that the discipline you demonstrate when no one is watching defines the strength you bring when everyone is. Most people lose their mornings before they even begin. They hit snooze, scroll through their phone, react to messages, and by the time they step into the day, they are already behind. That defeat lingers, often unconsciously, making it harder to focus, harder to lead, harder to stay calm under pressure. In contrast, those who choose to win their mornings walk into the day with a different kind of energy, confident, focused, already in motion. That difference is not luck, it's a choice. And it's a choice you can make daily. Winning the first hours means living by design, not by default. It means that before distractions arrive, before the world makes demands, you've already invested in your body, your mind, and your direction. Whether that's through stillness, movement, fueling with intention planning, or feeding your mind with growth, the simple act of stacking wins early creates a ripple effect. Small victories compound. 10 minutes of reflection sharpens your focus. A short workout energizes your body. Writing down priorities clarifies your direction. Feeding your mind with wisdom elevates your perspective. One choice builds on the next until, by the time the rest of the world begins to stir, you've already built a foundation of strength that cannot easily be shaken. There is also a psychological edge to winning the morning. You send yourself a message that you are in control, that you can follow through, that you are someone who keeps promises to yourself. That identity shift is perhaps the most valuable outcome of early morning discipline. Because once you see yourself as a person who wins the morning, you naturally begin to act like a person who wins the day. The external results, greater productivity, better health, deeper focus, are simply the byproducts of an internal transformation. You're no longer at the mercy of circumstance, you're leading your life with intention. Momentum is a powerful force, and mornings are where it begins. Think of a snowball rolling downhill. The longer it goes, the more force it gathers. But it only starts moving when someone gives it that initial push. Winning the morning is that push. It sets you in motion with energy, clarity, and focus, making it far easier to sustain progress throughout the day. Without that initial push, the day feels heavy, sluggish, like you're dragging yourself forward. With it, you're carried by momentum, accomplishing more with less resistance. It's important to remember that winning the first hours isn't about perfection. It's not about waking up at exactly the same time every day or executing a flawless routine. It's about consistency. It's about stacking intentional choices that align with the person you want to be. Even small wins, drinking water instead of coffee first, stretching for 5 minutes, writing down 3 priorities, build confidence and reinforce discipline. Over time, these seemingly small actions shape the trajectory of your life. Because how you do anything is how you do everything, and how you begin your day influences how you end it. When you win the first hours, you take ownership of your day before anyone else can. You choose clarity over chaos, intention over reaction, progress over procrastination. That ownership doesn't just create better mornings, it creates better outcomes in every area of life. And when practiced consistently, it becomes less about what you're doing before 6 a.m. and more about who you are becoming through those choices. A person defined by focus, energy, discipline, and direction. Do you also want me to create a short, powerful conclusion in Simon Sinek's tone that ties all 6 keynotes together?